Against the Wall has many meanings, or some meanings. Why should we, as the person that will be reading this book, should be against the wall in all of those meanings?
Well, I mean, walls represent barriers, I think, to the best parts of ourselves. You know, the wall on the border, also one of the main things the border wall does is it gives people a false sense of security. And it allows us to pretend that we cannot deal with the problems that we, as the United States, have created. The reason why so many people come to our borders is because we have gone to their countries and we have mined and stripped their lands and taken out a lot of their wealth. And so we have a lot of people in those countries that now have nowhere to grow food and nowhere to live, so they come to our country. We build a wall so that we don't have to see them, so that we don't have to think about them, so that we don't have empathy or sympathy for them. And I think that lack of humanity in the name of national security helps create a lot of friction between us, and it helps us to not be able to see that our differences maybe aren't national security issues, but maybe just things that we can enjoy about each other and love about each other.
Why is it so difficult for our countries to realize that this is not just a security issue? It's an issue about humanity.
I think for the United States, I mean, we have always had a culture of brutality that we hide behind a lot of walls. So, like, we don't teach our children the truth about slavery. We don't teach them the truth about the genocide we committed on the Native Americans. And there's many of those instances throughout our history. And I think what we have right now with immigration and the way that we're treating asylum seekers and that we're criminalizing them is the same kind of tragedy that we've done in the past. And we're not talking about it, and we're not going to discuss it. We're just going to create these policies. And I think it's easier, it's maybe the easy way out to look at somebody who maybe looks different than you. Maybe they're a different color of skin or a different religion, and just say, you know, no, your problem, I don't want to hear about this. And it's certainly easier for the governments. And they're making a lot of money off of it, frankly. And unfortunately, they get reelected because a lot of people don't want to invest the time to understand what the problems are, how they started, and how we can actually solve them. So
there are some characters in your book that you talk, how does they affect you in taking this decision, or make you to take this decision of resigning?
But I spent a couple of years really going and listening to people who had been victimized by Border Patrol, or victimized, or their loved ones had been victimized. So, like, I went and listened to Maria Puga, who is the widow of Anastasio Hernandez Rojas. I went to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights when they came to San Diego, and I sat there for 3 days in the back, listening to everything from migrants and attorneys and all sorts of people from the NGOs and charities. And every single story I'm listening to, when they talk about the Border Patrol agent, you know, the Border Patrol agent, they'll say something like, the Border Patrol agent searched me, and when he searched me, I'm putting myself in that uniform. I know what it feels like to be in that uniform. I know what it feels like to search somebody. And then she says, and he fondled my breast. And I'm like, I can see that happening, because I know how some Border Patrol agents are. And in listening to, like, Maria Puga, when she's talking about the beating of Anastasio, that I actually didn't know anything about until I met her. And I'm like, first of all, just so ashamed to watch these agents that I used to wear that same uniform surrounding this man and beating him to death. And how they could have no shame about that and lie and say that he's the one that was beating them. And not a single one was ever held account. And it's just like, I feel like I joined a criminal organization. You know, that's not what the law's supposed to be about. That's not justice. And so that was a significant part. It is still a significant part of my journey to go and listen to people and open up. And I think the more I listened to people and open up, the more I was willing to open up myself and share my story and be honest about that as well.
How can you understand what is happening in other countries that they are learning from Border Patrol?
You see the same exact systems. So the way that they are holding Guatemalans down in Chiapas is the same of what we are trying to do here. And so what we're doing is, there's a saying in the United States of not in my backyard. And that's kind of like a wall. So, you know, you can do whatever you want over there, but don't bring that stuff over here. And so you can see that we're training, you see the checkpoints going up in Guatemala, you see them going up in Honduras and other places. You see the uniforms, you see how they're talking about the situation as being a national security issue instead of a humanitarian one. So we are, and I've said this a long time about the Border Patrol, but it is the same for the INM, the Mexican immigration. It's the same for the Guatemalan immigration and everybody else. We are all trying to address what is a humanitarian crisis with a law enforcement tool. And it is not going to work. If you want to protect your borders from terrorists and criminals, by all means, the Border Patrol is great. They'll find terrorists and they'll do whatever they need to do with it. But they do not get any training and any understanding in humanitarian causes and the reason why asylum seekers are coming here. They are only taught in the academies that asylum seekers lie about everything, that they are coming to invade our country, and that the Border Patrol is the last option for the United States to keep themselves safe. That is what they literally believe. And we have to change that. That's not the truth.
Jenn, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.